Good evening. This is CC Cycle 2, Week 8. So, I'm in the car, so excuse the bad lighting, but this is the time frame that I had to record this. So, we had a good day. I apologize to the kids because I had a stiff neck, still do, and so it made me a bit out of whack for 2 weeks in a row now. So, poor kids. Hopefully, I'll be back to my old self next week. But real quick, today in community, I have Maggie with me. We did just 14s for math, and we sang through the song, and I had the kids roll a die with different animals on them, and then they had to roll the dice, and while they were reciting the 14s, they had to do the animal motion. So that was fun. And then for Latin, this was the second week of perfect tense first conjugation endings. And so we played hot potato, since the kids all remembered the song. And if they ended, so we did E isti it, imis istis errant, first conjugation, perfect tense, and then whoever had the beanbag on tense had to say the conjugations for perfect tense. So we did that 7 times through. For science, we did what are some aquatic biomes. Some aquatic biomes are ponds and lakes, streams and rivers, wetlands and estuaries, and oceans and seas. We talked about what each of those were briefly, and then I posted half of those, like for ponds and lakes, I put either ponds or lakes up on the wall, and we played 4 corners with them. So I closed my eyes, they all picked a corner, and then I yelled out ponds, and then if there was anybody standing in the ponds corner, they had to tell me what went with ponds, and so they would say lakes. So, and then we just played that until we made it all the way through all of them 7 times again, and that was it. The first round through new grammar, I completely forgot to do English, and so we went back to it, and it was perfect. Actually, it was perfect timing. So I took out a mirror and I showed them myself. We did reflexive pronouns, so I said we are reflecting us as the subject, and so I showed them myself. I showed, what do I see in the mirror? I see my reflection, and so myself, and then yourself. I showed them themselves in the mirror, and then we said if those people over there were looking at themselves, it would be himself, herself, itself, and then we talked about ourselves, yourselves, themselves. So that was good. For timeline, let me see if I can do this. We did Council of Nicaea, so we just used the 3 in 1. Talked about how that was talking about the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit being one God. So Council of Nicaea, and then A for Augustine of Hippo, and so we made some X's and we made this sign. Augustine of Hippo, and then Jerome made a J. Completes the Vulgate. Visigoth, Sax, Rome. And then we did the Middle Ages,
circa 450
50
to
to circa
1500.
1500. And then
Chalcedon.
Council of Chalcedon. And we did Western, and we did it moving away from our body. So Western Roman Empire falls to barbarians.
Why are they called barbarians? We're just kids.
And that was it. So what did we do for that? Oh, we took out some timeline cards and we moved them around, and we do something else. I think that was it.
Latin.
Tell me about the European
Science.
explorers for history. For that, we just prior to that, we had done geography, and
Ooh,
so
look, someone's
let me go back. So in
driving.
geography, we talked about the mid-Atlantic world, and we traced on the map the Cape of Good Hope around the tip of Africa. Then we talked about the Canary Islands up off the coast of northern Western Africa, and how there were 7 islands. We talked about the Strait of Magellan and how it was a passageway from the Atlantic to the Pacific in South America, southern South America, and then the Treaty of Tordesillas, where that was an imaginary line. And to the east of the imaginary line was Portugal, and where Portugal what's the word I'm looking for? Conquered and had rule of, and then everything to the west of the line was Spain. And so then we just went through and traced, and we did something else. What did we do? I just had each of the kids just call back to me and show me each of these areas on the map. So, and then we erased the maps and then kept the maps out so we could talk about, in history, these European explorers and some of the places that we had just talked about in geography, how they went there in history. And so, yeah, it was good. So we sang through that song a few times, and then I had them just kind of trace their fingers in the directions of the places where we just talked about in geography, and that was good. So I think that's it. And so we had a great time outside talking about our solar system and the planets and the order of them. Max, hang on, honey, you're moving the phone. Hang on. And then we talked about dynamics in Tin Whistle. So they're to be practicing the first line on our Christmas song this week and really trying to master that. So, all right, guys. Well, my teenager should be coming out from driver's ed here in just a minute. So I'm going to wrap up, but have a great week, and I will see you next week for week 9. All right, bye.
Where's Jacob?